Welcome to another edition of Boom and Bust. I'm your host, Tony Clement. I'm here at the News Forum where all voices matter. Boom and Bust is pleased to present for a second year in a row the representatives of the Better Business Bureau of Canada. They just released their risk report on 2021 scams on people, so let's hear all about it. Here to answer questions are Simone Lis, she is the CEO, Jessie St-Cyr, she is the Communications Director, and Kristen Matthews, who is the Marketing and Communications Manager. Welcome to all of you.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for having us.
Simone, why don't you start us off? Tell us about the top 3 risks for this year.
Well, maybe I'll start with number 3. I think that's always kind of fun, is to start from the bottom and work our way up.
Sure.
But this year, last year, this year, it's the top third is online purchase scams. And really with online purchase scams, as you can imagine, with COVID, everyone's really connected to their computers. And what we are seeing is a real increase in people falling prey to purchasing things that they maybe don't get or that are not of the quality that they would expect to get. We also see the online arena emerge in other areas as well. And so that brings it up in our list. At number 2 are advanced fee loan scams. These are scams where someone is looking for some sort of financial support. And what happens is they are told that they qualify, but they have to pay a fee in order to get a loan. You should never have to pay a fee in order to get a loan. And so right away, that tells you that it's a scam. And then topping our list, cryptocurrency scams. Cryptocurrency scams, it's a hot topic right now. We know that the market is doing really well when it comes to digital currencies. And so this is an area where we are seeing significant loss when people are potentially purchasing Bitcoin or other types of digital currency from illegitimate players in the marketplace.
Okay, well, we're going to dive into all of these areas for sure in this broadcast. So thank you for that little synopsis there. Maybe I'll go to you next, Jessie. Maybe tell us a little bit about how this list was compiled.
Absolutely. So our top 10 riskiest scams every year, we calculate, first of all, how many types of scams. So let's say cryptocurrency, how many scams were actually reported. If someone reported a cryptocurrency scam but did not lose money, what were the odds of them, if they came in contact with that type of scam, what were the odds of them losing money? And what's the amount of money that was actually lost? So that's our risk index. So how prominent is a scam? If someone comes face to face with that scam, what are the odds that they're going to lose money? And what are the amounts, if that makes sense? I repeated twice, but I just wanted to make sure that was clear.
Sure. So just on that front, though, so you would, is this based on reports of people contacting you, or did you do surveys, or is it a little bit of both?
Absolutely. It's actually Canadians who report the scams to our tool, bbb.org/scam tracker. So we compile this data, and then we do once a year a survey to just ask them questions. So did they shop more online, and just to have a bigger picture, a better idea of the situation.
All right. And Kristen, are there any trends that you see with these scams? Is there anything that really jumps out at you?
Absolutely. So I think the first trend is with cryptocurrency scams is we've seen these cryptocurrency scams can actually be involved in many different scams. So employment scams, online purchase scams, different types of scams can really involve cryptocurrency and ask you to kind of maybe wire back money that is in cryptocurrency because it's untraceable. So that is one common factor that I'm seeing. And that's why cryptocurrency scams are so risky, is because they can be involved in so many different types of scams. And I think too, what we're seeing with the number 3 scam, which is online purchase scams, we've noticed, and this is very similar to our report in 2020, that about a third of all scams reported by Canadians in 2021 were online purchase scams. And then we also noted that 52.7% of Canadians reporting shopping online more this year as the pandemic continues. So those are some trends that we're noticing. It's definitely really reliant on the COVID-19 pandemic.
We're going to continue our discussion with these representatives from the Better Business Bureau of Canada. After the break, we're talking about the scams that people are subjected to. So stay with us. Very important topic. We'll be back after the break. Welcome back to Boom and Bust. I'm your host, Tony Clement, here at the News Forum. We're here with Kristen Matthews, Simone Lis, Jessie St-Cyr, all of the Better Business Bureau of Canada, looking at the top, mostly online scams that Canadian consumers are subjected to. Simone, coming back to you, Kristen mentioned this before the break. Obviously, COVID and lockdowns and people being online more has really come into its own in this world in which we inhabit now. So are there things that you're picking up, like what makes these scams so successful? How do they do it? How do they pull the wool over people's eyes? What can you say about that?
I think people forget that scam artists are, in a sense, a business, right? And so when you think about a victim of a scam, you think, I'm not going to be a victim because it's easy to figure out that it's a scam. But again, they're a business, so they are emerging their technologies, they're advancing their approaches, and they're looking at ways to connect with you. And one of the things that the scam report kind of spoke to when it was surveying people who had been victims of scams was about the factors that influence someone's potential to fall to a scam. And it would be things like, feeling less connected, feeling, that you're not able to pay the bills on time. Those kind of things. A scam artist, they connect with you, they build trust, you have trust in them, and then you're more likely to fall prey.
Yeah, that's interesting. So do you think, and I'm just throwing this out to anyone can answer this one, do you think that that the nature of being susceptible to the scams is changing from get rich quick kind of schemes to more things where people are isolated, they're alone, they want connectivity, and this kind of answers that call? Have you picked up on that at all?
I think actually it's a mix of both. So if we think of cryptocurrency scams, get rich quick is definitely one of them. But on other levels, they're always going to pull your heartstrings. So it involves so many aspects. But also we need to remember that some of them are going to create like a false sentiment of urgency. They're going to ask you to act quickly. So you don't have the time to really take a step back, take a breath, and do a lot of research to make sure you're not falling prey to these scams.
Yeah, no, that's a very good point. And I guess leading to my next question then, coming out of that, Jessie, for again, anyone can answer this, but how can people educate themselves and ward against these deceptions that you're talking about?
Kristen, go ahead.
Sure. So I will say, at BBB, Jessie did mention our BBB scam tracker. So that's located at bbb.org/scam tracker. It's kind of a interactive heat map where you can see what kind of scams are happening in your area and what happened to people. So you can get detailed reports on what's actually happening. So I think that's one tool that people everywhere should know about, because it not only helps you to understand and recognize if what you're experiencing might be a scam, but also helps other people as well. So we always recommend reporting to BBB Scam Tracker, and then also looking at BBB Scam Tracker to see if what you're experiencing might be a scam. So that's definitely one thing we always tell people.
And so go ahead, Jessie. Yeah, please.
I was just going to say another trick is that nowadays all government agencies are really putting the effort into giving a lot of information on what scammers are doing or how they're using their names. So really, you can just do a simple search online and find out what's going on. And obviously your local BBBs, if you're not too comfortable by doing a search online, you can always contact your local BBB by phone and we can help you out. You can give us the name of the business and we can let you know if it seems fishy or if it seems legitimate.
Perfect advice. And I guess Is there anything general that you would say to Canadians, like obviously get as much information as possible, but is it just how we should approach being online, getting our defenses up? Anything like that?
With not even just online, because we get connected online, and then there are the ability of connecting with you through phone, through text. Those are still there too, and they also influence our risk report. But I always start with, take a moment, pause, breathe, and just really reflect on what's being asked of you, and don't respond. Right? Just start with not responding. That allows you to give yourself some time to do some research, get some validation, and make sure that you're taking the right steps to protect yourself.
And we're back here at Boom and Bust. I'm your host, Tony Clement, here with our representatives from the Better Business Bureau, talking about scams, the top list for 2021, what you should be avoiding and being aware of. Simone, I'm going to just come back to you. Obviously, the online world is getting more and more sophisticated. So how does the Better Business Bureau help consumers with that aspect of it, that things are moving so quickly, different applications and different services? It seems like a real whirlwind for a lot of consumers, right?
Well, the good news is that we've been around for over 100 years. So people can come to us for guidance, for help, for consumer tips, to research and offering. I mean, when Kristen was talking about online purchase scams and how the online arena is weaving through everything else, the BBB also is advancing. And so you can come to bbb.org at any time and check something out through Scam Tracker. You can look up a business profile and see how a business is responding to complaints and customer reviews. And we can guide you through some of these circumstances where you're not sure. We can be your voice of reason.
Yeah, and Jessie, I guess as the communications manager, you face this too. Like there's just a lot of people that are, and I'm not saying this disparagingly, but online world is so complicated now, and it's so easy to get in over your head. Are you finding that at all, Jessie or Kristen?
Yes, absolutely. I think that the more we spend time online, the more comfortable we get, the more trusting we become. And that's the problem, because scam artists are becoming better at creating legitimate looking websites, legitimate looking ads or pop-ups that you can find on Facebook, on Instagram, which can really pull you in, especially if they are announcing amazing below market prices. So definitely, we always, because we are in that situation as well. So a lot of our communication teams always write some good articles about different trends and topics. And if we see that a scam is popping up, we're going to write about it. And we want to educate people about that scam to make sure that no more people fall victim to scams.
Kristen, you were nodding your head as well.
Yes, I think what Jessie said, just people are becoming too trusting as we spend more time online. We actually just talked about an Instagram hijacking scam that included cryptocurrency and the online world, where essentially people's friends were being impersonated, and then they were sent a link to essentially, invest in this cryptocurrency platform, but it was being hidden as, helping a friend out with a survey for a new job, for example. And then they were actually asked to, once they click on the link, their account was then hacked, and then they were asked by the scammer to send them a video to post to actually invest in cryptocurrency. So we're seeing, like I said at the beginning, cryptocurrency is really inserting itself into so many different types of scams. And as the online world continues to advance, as technology continues to advance, as Jessie said, so will scammers' tactics.
Mm-hmm. So I think we need to get a sense that we always need to be a little skeptical about what we see, sadly, nowadays online.
I guess the rule of thumb is don't click on the link unless you know it's from a trusted source. And even then, don't click on the link. Is that right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
there is one thing you could do. We always tell people, if you get an unsolicited email, you can actually hover over that link and see where it will be taking you if you did decide to click on it. Again, if it is an unsolicited email from an unknown source, we definitely recommend not clicking. However, there are options out there that you can really just take little simple steps to take to verify if something's legitimate or not.
I noticed almost immediately as well, once the Russian invasion of Ukraine started, I started getting emails and other unsolicited communications saying, hey, I need your help, I'm from Ukraine. Have you been starting to see that as well?
Absolutely. And that's the sad part about the situation. Every time that there's a tragedy, a war, a natural disaster, scammers are going to take advantage and are going to try to pull on your heartstrings and get you to give out your money. So what we usually recommend, if you want to help out people in Ukraine, is to make sure that it's a legitimate charity. In Canada, you can always verify that they're registered with CRA. And we also have a BBB in London and Ontario who actually vet charities as well. So there are many tools that can help you choosing a good charity to make sure that the money you are giving is going to the right place.
Welcome back to Boom and Bust. I'm here with our guests from the Better Business Bureau, Kristen Matthews, Simone Lis, and Jessie St-Cyr, talking about online scams. Simone, coming back to you, you mentioned online purchases. Are there any segments of online purchases that seem to be more susceptible to fraud based on your research?
We do know that items of high demand are often really good opportunities for scam artists to catch your attention. Shoes, jewelry, anything that has limited supply, that's something that you want. And so you might start looking in places where you think you're going to get a better deal. You aim, you click, you buy, and then you find out it's not what you got.
And are there, let's move from the top three just for a second, because obviously there are many other, there's such a smorgasbord of scams that are out there now. Are there any sort of fast movers from your research that are not quite at the top three yet, but are moving fast that people should be aware of?
I think one, if I can jump in, that might surprise people is the home improvement scam, which just dropped one ranking compared to last year. But still, home improvement scam are still one big that people don't really expect. So if you're going to hire someone to do renovation in your home, always do a lot of research as well. And another trick that seems maybe intense, but is to ask for a picture ID, because there was a man arrested actually in Ontario in the past few months that was operating businesses under different names, under different aliases. And a woman from Ontario actually lost over $160,000 to this man, and he left her house completely undone. So you really need to do your due diligence, even in home improvement when hiring a contractor.
Kristen?
I think too. Yeah, sorry. I think too, some other noticeable increases that I've seen in the 2021 report was that phishing scams actually rose from 8th riskiest to 5th riskiest in 2021, and counterfeit product scams rose from 10th riskiest to the 6th riskiest in 2021. So I think that we can also likely kind of relate this to the increase in online purchase scams, as well as, the COVID-19 pandemic, because a lot of these online purchase scams are phishing scams where they do want your personal information, and then obviously counterfeit products where you order something online and then get a cheap kind of knockoff version of the product that you actually ordered. So I think those are some interesting kind of scams that are rising as the pandemic continues, and I think those are some to kind of watch out for as well.
That's a really good point. And there's obviously a balance that has to be struck by every consumer about the ease of purchase, how easy it is online to get what you want, versus displaying all your personal information. Is there good advice on what the balance is on that? Simone?
If they don't overshare any information that really, I'd say don't share, but don't overshare. So don't provide people your pet's names. Don't provide people things that you might use and hopefully shouldn't use as passwords. Don't tell people when you're going out of town. I mean, why give that kind of information? And honestly, I don't know if I would open my personal life on social media up to strangers I don't know.
Mm-hmm. And sorry, Kristen, you were going to say something?
Oh, I was just going to say, kind of just on what Simone was saying, really just we just put out an article not too long ago about doing social media quizzes, so Facebook quizzes that ask for certain information like your pet's name or what was the name of the street that you grew up on. So even if something might not seem like it's inherently after your personal information, scammers can actually disguise certain quizzes and things like that to get personal information. So definitely something to also think about and keep in mind.
And don't forget, if you're registered online with CRA, they ask for similar information. So this might be just a scam to get access to your CRA files. So all good advice from our expert panel. Thank you, and thank the Better Business Bureau for being on the show today. It's been a great learning lesson for our audience. Much appreciated.
Thank you so much for having us.
Thank you. Very interesting program with our guests from the Better Business Bureau. The scams that Canadians are susceptible to, really, it's everything that you'd ever imagine, and you always have to be aware and have to make sure that you do not fall for these scams. So thanks for watching our program. I hope it was helpful for you too.